On this week's Hot List, fueling anger, a steep increase in gas prices brought protesters out in the streets. Why it means more here than anywhere else. Open secret, did this political party chairman get canceled for speaking the truth or telling a lie? And Island of Smiles, why Bali was named the world's happiest vacation spot. Hello and welcome. This is Hot Indonesia. I'm Dalton Tanonaka in Jakarta. Let's get to it. My co-hosts, Linda Ibrahim, writer and business consultant based in Jakarta, and sitting in for Millie this week, Farina Situmorang, CEO and founder of the AI technology firm Pensive. Hot topic number one, fueling anger. Protesters rallied outside Parliament and other locations this week, but the government said it had no choice, raising the price of subsidized gas by 30% over the weekend. A liter went from 7,650 to 10,000 rupiah, or 51 cents to 67 cents, and that's about $2.53 a gallon. Way cheaper than in other parts of the world, but budget busting for the average motorist here. Now, the government's subsidy budget had risen to $32 billion this year, a multiple increase because of rising oil prices and a weak rupiah, says the government. Linda, you never see major street protests elsewhere over gas prices. Why here?
No, I kind of disagree with that. With the current gas prices this year, there has been protests in other countries. But in Indonesia, the problem is for two reasons. First, the way our population is stacked in the income groups. What you will see is that because we have very bad transportation system, public transportation system, so a lot of people rely on private vehicles, even for the lower middle classes and the lower classes. They push themselves to own a motorcycle. Then there is the second-hand effect, because of the rising of the fuel impacting distribution, for example. So the prices of the food staple will also go up. So a lot of people will get hit first-hand and second-hand. And what we have to remember is that with the current scheme of assistance from the government, yes, the lower class will be helped. They're going to get a cash handout, but that cash handout will not touch the lower middle classes and the middle classes. And these are the bulk of Indonesian population. These are the ones that's getting hit first-hand, second-hand. And also maybe third-hand when they're trying to buy a property, secure a property, because it will impact the payout, the installment payout to the banks.
Yeah, in a number of ways, but the main point is because of the lower income levels, it takes a bigger chunk, percentage-wise, out of somebody's budget than in other more developed countries. Okay, now subsidized fuel, which kept prices low, and let us not clarify that it's not prices going up, it's just removing some subsidies from it. Subsidized fuel accounts for 80% of the sales of the giant state-owned oil company Pertamina, so the impact, especially for everyday consumers and small business, is huge. Farina, this may be necessary financially, but not wise politically.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, right? Because with fuel, everyone is really impacted. I just read the numbers. We had the highest sales of motorcycles last year, which was like maybe 5 million. And then on top of all the cars and everything, it's simply because of our lifestyle. We're just not a walking society here. We rely so much on vehicles and not a lot of public transport. So what else is there, right? That's one. That's just only for transport. Second is obviously logistics and supply chain that will impact prices. And so it really is impacting people, the normal people day to day. So politically, it's not favorable, but I don't know what the government is thinking right now. It must have been very necessary. I would assume.
Yeah, you got to think. I mean, the last time prices went up this much was in 2014, at the beginning of Joko Widodo's administration, and now here near the end, he's had to do it again. Linda, you mentioned to help offset the impact of the increase, the government is making small cash payments to low-income households, which seems benevolent, but it never quite seemed to balance out. I mean, and often it doesn't reach the people who need it most.
Yeah, there are two problems there, is that whether it's enough and whether it actually reaches the right people. The government claims, based on the data they have with the social ministry and the finance ministry, that they are hitting not only the right people, but with the right number. But certain studies, independent studies, have shown that it's not entirely true. So there is always going to be that gap when people are not getting it. One finding from the research that I remember, and I thought that was very important, was that the way the government categorize it is not poor person, but poor family. So you know how Indonesians, sometimes you have 2 generations living, 3 generations living in one house, right? If one of them is considered not poor, just making income barely over the poverty line, then that family is not considered as poor, so they will not be getting the cash handout. Where in fact that family, that one person, is shouldering the living of maybe 3 generations of 7 people living in that house. So if you look at it from that perspective, that would be unfair, and that happens a lot. So it is very tricky.
This seems like a political reaction more than, I mean, I'm sure they're meaning well, but yeah, it's not like sending a check to every household as in America during COVID. Union groups are calling for a nationwide work stoppage in November or December if the increase is not rolled back. If the protests this week have any impact at all as well. Farina, do you think the threat of a nationwide work stoppage is enough leverage or muscle against the government?
I mean, only if it goes into quote unquote, chaos, Dalton. I think it would impact it a lot more. But how long can we afford to not work? I think that's also another question. I think the government might have recognized that that's probably also not possible, right? So maybe it's just the dog is just barking right now. Who knows whether it's going to bite?
Yeah, you're just kind of pissing people off on both sides by the rhetoric going on. And, I don't think they will roll it back, but if they do, it should be, 30% is a big hike. I mean, in any country in this world, other places wouldn't stand for that big, maybe 10%, 15%. So maybe there's a compromise ahead. Okay, Hot Indo will continue shortly with Open Secret. Was this political leader fired because he told a lie or the truth?
Saya ingin mengumumkan kerjasama dengan The Indonesia Channel. Saya mendorong semua entitas untuk bergabung dalam upaya ini dengan mempromosikan produk dan layanan mereka di platform digital yang unik ini.
I love Indonesia. I love the food. Yummy. Wow. I'm gonna hunt for ingredients. Now I'm ready to cook. Let's go to the kitchen. It's done. Let's meet to eat.
Foodiepedia on the Indonesia Channel.
Trần Minh Ngân of VCCTV Net Việt in Hanoi.
I'm Thairat Thomya of Thailand's Thairat TV in Bangkok.
I'm Monica Sambodet from the National Television of Cambodia in Phnom Penh.
I'm Raymond Go of Malaysia's TV3 in Kuala Lumpur.
I'm Glenda Chong of Singapore's Channel News Asia.
I'm Raisa Chantami of the Indonesia channel at the ASEAN Secretariat in Jakarta.
This is your weekly look into the dynamic Southeast Asia region.
ASEAN Today on the Indonesia channel.
The Best of Bali takes viewers on a special guided tour of the treasures of the island of the gods.
Well, the romantic dinner is beautiful.
The Best of Bali, only on the Indonesia channel.
You're watching Hot Indonesia with Linda, Farina, and me. Here's hot topic number 2, Open Secret. He was the chairman of the United Development Party, but the Jakarta Globe reports that Suharto Monoarfa lost that position because of a statement he made on August 15th. He reportedly said that he had to leave packets of money whenever he wanted to visit party clerics, and that angered the Muslim leaders. Suharto later said it was a slip of the tongue. Now, Suharto Monoarfa is no ordinary political chief. He's also in the cabinet of the president as National Development Planning Minister. Farina, do you think he stated publicly what the public believes privately?
I think it's something that anecdotally most of us in Indonesia have already known or heard of this practice, right? It's just we never really confirmed, or there isn't really none of us are actually out there to find out the truth. Now, Dalton, I think the slip of the tongue or, the messengers getting shot, these are very typical. For me, I think someone is probably waiting for a person to make a mistake, and any tiny one can be blown up. So who knows what the political behind the scenes are like.
Yeah, I mean, that's the politics, but I'm specifically referring to, the open secret. We're not just talking about in political circles. I mean, anything you ask for help sometimes, whether it's the handyman or your apartment building people or the police. I mean, it's a custom kind of thing, customary to do something, and I don't want to get too specific, but in this case, Suharto was not just kicked out of his party, just relieved of his chairmanship, although that reportedly is being disputed. Linda, would you say this is more than an internal problem?
I think I like what you put out in your question to Farina. I mean, was he speaking publicly? The public already believes privately. I think that's exactly what happened. A lot of things in Indonesia, we agree on certain things, but let's not talk about it publicly because then you will embarrass certain people, and let's not rock the boat. And I think he did that. I don't know what happened. I don't know the party at all. I mean, more than any regular Indonesian would know about that particular party. It could have been a slip of the tongue. It could have been that he meant to do that, to rock the boat. Maybe some of the clerics pissed him off for certain things. I don't know, And obviously, like Farina said, someone in the wing was waiting for him to make a small mistake, and they swooped right in, So it's just a perfect storm, what happened. But, Delton, think about it this way. There are all Indonesian political parties must support the clerics if you want to get some votes or hopes of a vote, right? Because just the way it is in Indonesia. And when that happened, what happened with Monoarfa, I didn't see any other political party jump in, not defending it or defending it, So it's almost like they understood what was going on. They kind of agree, but they just say, what? He opened his mouth, he's now taking it from his own party. But we're not going to pile on that, which usually what political parties do when the other was making a mistake. They're going to pile on that, they didn't, because they know I'm guessing they know there's some truth in what he was saying. So.
And maybe they had to do it too in their parties, and hoping that the practice would stop. Maybe, just to.
Nobody want to have, right? It's a toxic sort of topic that nobody is willing to have. And Dalton, I think in Indonesia, all these practices, we have to differentiate between the ones that are actually, are okay with, we're okay with, and the other ones that we're not, right? I mean, tipping our handyman or tipping the manicurist lady, like that's great. But, on the other hand, if you tip a policeman, that's obviously not okay, right? And in this context with the political party, then it's obviously you shouldn't be doing something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between gratuities and, I guess, minor corruption.
Yeah. And that line is always very blurred in Indonesia, unfortunately, even after Reform 98. One of the running joke after the 98 was that, and I'm sad to be telling this to our international audience, is that before 98, during Suharto's time, corruption was big, but it was done at the table in the front. You do it, lump sum payment, everything's taken care of to the back. So you can go on with your project, roll out here, there, and everywhere. But now after
which the government will deny, of course.
Of course, which the government will deny. But then after 98, you're not gonna get the big, envelope being requested at the beginning of your project in the front. But every single turn on every single table or desk that you're required to submit a proposal or form or something, there will be a little handout. There are somewhat expected or sometimes frankly expected. So for a lot of businessmen, they kind of understand this. They sort of expect this to happen outside the developed world anyway. But what they don't like is the fact that they have to do it at every single turn. It's almost like they prefer the old, 98 way, when you get it done in the beginning and then you can just continue with your projects without any hassle.
It's more efficient, I think, based on what...
More efficient corruption, basically.
Yeah, unfortunately so. And I'm sad that I have to actually say it to our international audience, but that's just the reality.
And our position on the global corruption index has not moved much since 98. We're still pretty down there. Okay, to wrap this up now, getting back to Mr. Suharto, if he made up the story of having to pay money to go meet the clerics, they could go to police and press charges, and they haven't yet. So what does that say to you, Farida?
Well, what any logical person would think, right? It means that they probably don't want to, the truth to be out there. So that's what it says to me. They don't want to investigate further, right? That's what it's basically saying. So they want to just like sweep it under the rug and don't want the conversation to be on this topic a lot
because
longer.
it would be slander if they said he said something publicly that was not true, and which they have not claimed. So
correct.
Yeah. If they were smart, they would have kept it internal. But I guess the speech that the minister made was public, and that's why this came out in some airing of dirty laundry, which most people kind of know about, which we said. Okay, more Hot Indo is ahead. Island of Smiles, why our favorite resort destination was named the world's happiest.
Produk lokal memang handal, kreasi lokal memang spesial. Ayo beli buatan negeri, bangga sekali produk sendiri. Dari busana sampai kria, kuliner juga buatan kita. Ayo beli kreatif lokal, marilah beli produk kreatif lokal. Pejuang negeri, beli kreatif lokal, banggalah beli produk kreatif lokal.
I'm Caitlin Turner, and welcome to Yoga Bliss. Exhale, reaching down to triangle pose. Roll your knee out and up to the sky. Breathing here.
Yoga Bliss, only on the Indonesia Channel.
You are watching iPop Playlist.
iPop on the Indonesia Channel.
You're watching Hot Indonesia from Jakarta. Hot topic number 3, Island of Smiles. I love surveys. The latest from the French holidaymaker Club Med listed the top 10 happiest holiday destinations in the world. Number 1 is Bali. Criteria included safety, pollution, and affordable cost of beer. Very important. Number 2 on the list, Las Vegas. No other Asian destination made the list. Now, I would have thought people would have been one of the major factors because, you know, in my opinion, generalizing, of course, Balinese are generally the sweetest people in the world. Linda, are you happiest in Bali?
Compared to other places in the world, top 5, but not like the top. It's hard to pick the top. If you ask me where I'm happiest, based on my experience, Mediterranean.
Okay, but you're Indonesian, so that kind of skews the thing. But I think they surveyed their readers outside of this country. I mean, you understand why it was picked, though.
Yeah, I mean, I heard about the qualifications. I have to ask about the pollution. Really? They think Bali pollution is somewhat better than pollution they might face in other places in Asia? You know?
I think they're looking up, not down, because when I'm in the water on my board, I feel a lot of junk under the surface of the water. It's terrible.
I have to say the pollution in Bali is not particularly low. You know, all the tourists hopping on motorcycles trying to get around, most of them not wearing helmet, if you want to say that.
Well, it could get worse. Yeah, other developed countries, it's a lot worse. Now, the others on the list, just to mention in the top 10, include Barcelona, Amsterdam, San Francisco, and Dubai, all major cities. So, Farina, Bali's in pretty good company.
I think so. Well, I mean, for me, I loved it. It's blue sky. You know, I don't have a lot of standards when it comes to air pollution because I live in Jakarta. But blue sky every time I go there. Good weather, good people. You know, good food, great beaches. And I have to say, Dalton, like there are a lot of islands that I have gone to, and you know, they have pristine, clear water and great beaches. But you know, I think it's just I don't know what it is. It's a combination of the food, the people, the warmth, you know, like all of them combined and makes Bali what it is. It just, even after being to other islands in Indonesia, I still want to come back there and I still enjoy every time I go. So I understand why it's at the top of the list.
Yeah, I think Bali, the people, it goes back to the people. It generates outward and the culture and the religion contributes to that and it makes it a happy place. I agree. It is feedback time, huh?
But yet they didn't put it in the category, right? The culture. And
hey, you know, this is one of those fun things. I mean, I don't think it's scientific, so we'll let them have their fun, and we get the glory. It is feedback time now, and Yong Sen had this comment after our segment on a cabinet minister's presidential chances in 2024. Prabowo Subianto is an old man, better be a mentor. But Asus took this position. Indonesia needs someone like Prabowo Subianto to be stable across all sectors. Here's how to contact us with your feedback. Email at hotindo@theindonesiachannel.com or please comment through our Hot Indonesia or Indonesia Channel Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube pages. Final words, Linda.
Yes, we talk about the fuel prices gonna be a hard time for a lot of Indonesians. So my final word is that brace yourselves There are going to be some protests on the street in the coming month, maybe some strikes or two. And hopefully we will come out of this, all of us, alive, a little bit beaten, but alive, you know. Fingers crossed.
Final words, Farina.
Yeah, Dalton, I think not based on any topics, but I'm loving those last 2 weeks. I've been watching a lot of the US Open. We've watched that here too in Indonesia. Been following all the fun that is happening in tennis and looking forward to see who's going to win it. At least for me, because I play tennis, it's like the best mornings I have every day right now.
And my final words, the saying, patience is a virtue, is believed to have been first spoken in the 3rd century. It refers to having a noble quality by being able to wait without agitation. But it's not easy. In this instant gratification world, we want things now. Food, grab, love. But if you wait patiently, the reward is even sweeter when it does come. So, Sabar, have patience. It will come, Linda. And that is Hot Indonesia for this week. For Linda Ibrahim and Frida Situmorang, I'm Dalton Tanonaka. Thank you for watching. Please join us again next time.